Hello from Arizona. Hello from Arizona. My name's Cal, and I want to welcome you to Tough Trails. Today what we're going to do is we're going to catch you on up on our kitchen build. Today we're going to talk about some additions to our camp kitchen that we have right here. And now we're going to also include our BulkHead, which also doubles as a sleeping platform. Left over from the plywood, and the biggest piece we have from the plywood is this 12 by 12. This 12 by 12 is going to be the basin for our sink, okay? So we're going to cut out our hole, we're going to drop our sink in, we're going to take this piece right here, make me a couple 45s on it to help support the sink, and we're going to do that sink. But if you look at this, as far as efficiency goes on management of our materials, we're kind of doing pretty good here. We've got a pretty good setup on one piece of plywood, all right? Remember, the materials for this, just the wood, was 45 bucks, $45. And look at all this that we're getting out of it. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing here is, I want this to last, I want it to be functional, and I actually wanted that camp stove is actually mounted permanently to this swing kitchen. But even though there's only a little bit of weight on here, this plywood is not the best medium to support this kind of weight. So I'm gonna need to create some support for it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm drilling a hole through here, and then we're going to drill it through back here if you can see it, and I'm going to put a bolt in from the back through here to where that bolt will come in, and it's going to support the door. So the weight of the camp kitchen will be partially supported by this door, which is designed to do so, or better designed to do so than this. So this is fine and it's working, but I just worry bouncing down the road. This is wood, it's organic, it's gonna wear those screw holes out, you know. This would probably be better suited if this was something that was made out of, say, 1 inch or 3/4 inch steel angle iron. Might be a better medium for this. I like the wood because it's accessible and cheap, and most people can come up with a handsaw or something and they could do it at home. There isn't that many people at home that has a welder or the ability to weld to get that steel stuff. But if we're going to go with the less expensive route and the wood, which there's nothing wrong with it, we're going to have to go a little bit farther to make sure that our efforts aren't for nothing. So I'm going to create this support right here, and then we're going to make sure that it helps stay level. I got my level on board here. You can see that maybe. So as I lift up just a little bit, see. All right, so we've got a little pilot hole started there. I put on a bigger bit, but it was kind of wobbly, so I had to switch bits. But at least you'll be able to kind of see what we're doing here. So I'm going to step up to the next size. What we're doing here, if you can see, is I went ahead and drilled through our door where the location of the pin is going to be to match up the location of the pin or the hole for the pin that's in the door. So we put this cover back on so I can see where I'm going to have to drill at. And if you can see right down in there, you can see where the end of the bolt touches. Okay, right behind that's where that hole is. So I'm going to put a little pressure on it, and I'm going to mark the top of it. And the reason I'm marking the top of it is because I'm going to drill on the top. And the reason I'm going to drill on the top, because this is made of wood, and use over time is going to cause that wood to wear a little bit, and it's going to drop a little bit. So I'm going to mount this a little bit higher than it needs to be, and that way when we start using this more and more often, and we're cooking on it, and the weight that goes on this starts to increase, it's going to start to wear this out. So what I'm trying to do is stay ahead of that, and I'm going to drill higher, so I'm already going to stop or start off with this maybe a few degrees higher than it needs to be, but that's going to be fine because it's going to last a lot longer when it starts to slowly wear over time. Okay, so that's what we did. We just marked that area. Now I'm going to drill a little hole in there to make sure it's right where it's supposed to be, and then I'll put the bigger one in, and then we'll see what we can see if we can finish this up or not. So that lined up pretty good. Okay, now we're going to test fit it. Now see, this is what I was talking about. Do you see where the hole is, and you see where the pin is? Okay, see, intentionally put that hole up higher to lift this up. So if I can try to explain it. So look at our level. See, this is where we're sitting at right now. So what we need to do is we need to lift this up. So I'm going to grab it from the bottom. See my hand right down here? I'm going to grab it from the bottom, and I'm going to lift it up. And see, and now our bubble's right in the middle. Okay, well, what that also does is causes our bolt back here to line up separately. And that's what we want. We want that to pull that up. So we're going to mount it that way. All right, there we go. Okay, before I put this back on, so I put a nut here and I tighten the hell out of this. You don't want to have to keep taking off this panel to, though it's not difficult, it's just a piece of plastic, and tighten this up. And again, rattles. I don't want something back here rattling to drive me nuts. So we did it this way, and now we're going to put the panel, over that, okay? And then now I can secure the panel. So I've got a whole bag of our bumper stops, and we're going to lock it back down, okay? All right, just so you can see it, these are the retainer clips that we use for our door panels, for our side panels in the back, and even our panel in the back on our swing gate. These right here, see them? And that's what they are, okay? I just want to make sure I got a picture of that, because I actually crumpled this up and was throwing it away, but I thought somebody may want to know this because this has the dimensions and measurements and stuff. So anyway, I just want to throw that in for you. Okay, and now that's put back. All the buttons are back in and it's secured. This has been painted to match, sort of. So, and that's in there permanently. And now we're gonna see how this is gonna work. So you'd open it, lift, oops, it's gonna be hard to do this. And look at that. Yeah, see, there you go. All right, so there you go. We're all the way through, and now we can either put, I was thinking maybe even drilling a hole through here and putting like a pull pin where you can just pull it, and I'll just put a little chain on here and have your little pin right there, so when you open your kitchen up and you slide it up against the door here, you push it back to the pin, you drop the pin in, and you're done, okay? But it's sitting there right now with no issues. And look at that, look at our level, see it? So we got all kinds of room now, and that thing is a lot more solid. So, okay? Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next thing, and we're gonna try to mount us a sink, okay? All right, there we go. As promised, we even have a kitchen sink in our overlanding kitchen. Look at this bad boy. So this holds a little bit over a gallon, and there we go. And it's removable, and it's collapsible, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, there's in the description of the video, in all my videos, there's always, you know, links to the products or where you can get them, or where I got them at, those kinds of things, if you're interested in some of that stuff. So I got this off Amazon. I'm an Amazon nut. It's just easier for me living where I live. I live kind of away from everything else, out of the town and stuff. So because I live so far away, Amazon's just really a convenience for me, and they deliver. So their prices seem to be going up a little bit from when they first started, but still, if you look at the price of gas and driving back and forth to town to find these pieces, I'd rather just let somebody else deliver it for them, and I'll save my gas. So, but anyway, as promised, there's your sink. So I'm going to take this out. I got some trimming to do here. I'm going to trim here a little bit. I don't like this corner sticking out. This one's okay because no one's going to hit it, and I might put some paint on it like this right here. Okay, and then we'll be set. All right, cool. Just want to catch you up. So here's your little close-up of the kitchen. So I actually did wait, and I went and got the smaller hinges and I put in there, and that's the way I wanted it. So well, this is all set up. This is going to work just fine. So I wanted you to see that and how that works. And this just, you know, it's one of those collapsible deals. So, but you could, you know, you can wash your dishes right here, or, you know, brush your teeth or wash your face, or if you're one of those people that still drag a razor across your face, you can shave, go for it, have a good time. So that's what camping's all about. So that's the deal there. So that pretty much is going to knock out our kitchen, and it's going to be pretty strong. One of the things I'm probably going to do is I'm going to beef up my hinges back in here, because, you know, this is actually really working very, very well. I would put a big old 5-gallon thing of stew on here, and I wouldn't worry about it. So, but I'm going to beef this up, and I may actually put a strip of metal in the back, and instead of screws going through those hinges, what I'll probably do is put nuts and bolts through them. And then the same thing here, I might put a piece of steel on the back of this one right here, if you can see my hand, and then I'll run nuts and bolts all the way through those latches. So, or those latches, they're not latches, hinges, there we go. Latches and hinges in cameras, oh no. Okay, so, all right, so I want you to see that. What we're doing here is we're going to finish putting our rivets on our net. So we're going to rivet our net to our bulkhead slash sleeping platform. So we still got to do that, okay? And that's what we're going to do next, all right? Okay, so as you can see, we've got the ends in, and we just have them set there. We've drilled the holes and we've lined them up, and then we stretched it, and we have the other end. Now we haven't crimped these rivets yet. We haven't applied them yet. We just have them in place, holding this net in position. So, got that all done. Also trimmed off the straps. We're not going to use those. This is a different application. So this is how it's going to go. It's permanently fixed with rivets. Pretty tight. And you saw the video where I got in it, and it only had 4 corner straps, or four rivets at that point, and now it's got rivets all the way around. So we're going to throw it back in there. Just wanted to update you and let you know where we're at. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we have a lot of finishing up to wrap up this interior, and we want to finish this up. We spent an awful lot of time in here. So today what I'm going to do is, you can see how messy this is, and I need to clean this up. And at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a guide and a mount that's more permanent and a lot better looking than this, and that'll last a lot longer than this steel going through this wood. This is going to wear out after a while. It's going to start rattling and vibrating, and I'm not going to be happy with that. So today I'm going to make a plate that's going to be able to create a guide for our legs here, which is going to mount to the box, and then it's going to have ears on it with holes in it that I can slide a pin through. That way we can lock her down so she doesn't, you know, walk forward or backwards or whatever, or vibrate and stuff. So, okay, so that's on the schedule for today. So we're going to get that done. Probably a couple other things. We'll see how the day goes. The temperature has dropped significantly. It's overcast. You know, there's a little rain going on. So this might be a break in the weather finally, because these long, hot Arizona days have just been kicking my ass. So let's get on with the program. All right, so this is our bulkhead that we built for our Overland Geo Tracker. And these are the legs that you see here. They're 8.5 inches long. And they go through the front of our Overland kitchen box. And they also come out to the behind our sensitive items panel as well. So we've got 2 points of contact on this to prevent this thing from rocking, but nothing really holds it in its place. So I don't want this to be able to walk forward. I don't want something to be able to hit it and push it out of its guides. So today we're going to do is we're going to build some guides for it that we can lock with like a pin or something in them, and we're going to do that today. Okay, and we're going to make that out of a 1-inch flat bar. 1-inch flat bar. It's only an 1/8 inch thick. It'll be nice, but it's going to be stronger than the wood for sure, and it's going to last a lot longer, and it's going to give us a better finish, because you know we went through that wood with drill bits and you know, jigsaws and whatever we could. We're not carpenters here. We don't have those kind of tools and stuff or equipment, or even the knowledge or know-how, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm not even a mechanic. So we're doing the best we can. Okay, so anyway, that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, so because the legs of our bulkhead slash sleeping platform is 1.5 inches, so I'm going to need to account for that. Plus, I'm going to mount it to the front, so I need to account for that. So this is 1.5 inches. I'm going to go 1 inch past this on each side, make that 2.5 inches. And then I'm going to put a 90-degree bend on it to come up on each side where I can put a pin through. So what I'm going to start with here is I'm going to make my initial cut of my metal at 4.5 inches, okay? 4.5 inches. So that should give me in the center a 1.5 inch guide plus a little bit of wiggle room for this metal to slide through, plus position for a mounting screw or bolt on each side, plus to accommodate for a pin to go through it to hold it in place. So the thickness of this metal is actually 3/16. This is pretty strong. It's 3/16. So what I'll probably do is probably use, say, a 1/4 inch bit, and that's how I'll make the slot in the metal. And then I'll just get out one of my grinders, cutting wheels, and we'll do the best we can, and hopefully we can keep the ugly stuff on the back side of it, okay? So that's what we'll do. Okay, before I start cutting and drilling, we're just going to show you how I've done this. Okay, so I've gone in, remember these, each pieces are 4.5 inches long, okay? 4.5 inches. And then I came in 1 inch and I put a dashed mark right there. If you see, it's kind of dashed like these, because the light's hitting that one funny. It's dashed because this is just a relief cut. So I'm going to take my cutting wheel and I'm going to cut into that, you know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe, just to make my bend nice and easy and straight when I go to bend it, okay? And then next what you see is this is the space right here. This is going to be the flat part that's going to go up against the cabinet or the utility box. And then this distance here is the distance of the 1.5 width of the legs on the bulkhead, okay? So relief cut, relief cut, relief cut, relief cut, cut off, and cut off. It gives me two 4.5 inch pieces. Each one of these gets a hole drilled in them, centered, in these 1 inch tabs that are going to bend up and become the ears. There you go, an ear. They're like an ear, okay? And then we'll put pilot holes through there, okay? We haven't figured out what our pin's going to be, or what we're going to use for a pin, or how we're going to do that. So, and then here, there'll be a hole in the center here and a hole in the center here, but I'm going to put those holes in later because, see, this isn't exactly 1.5 inches. My fingers are so messed up. This is 1.5 inches, see, which is the width. Well, I've got to have a little bit of wiggle room in there to get that to work. So I want to make sure that I have enough play to make it work before I figure out where I'm going to put these mounting holes at. And that's what we're going to do. So basically, I'll cut this and you know, do all this, bend it and all, and I'm going to put it on the bars, and then I'm going to put the bulkhead back in position, and I'm going to see where this lines up at, and that's when I'll know when to put my mounting holes at, okay? So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so there's your relief cuts, okay? So next, we're going to do our pilot holes, all right? Okay, and then what we've done is we've drilled our pilot holes right here and here and here with a 1/16 bit. And on the 1/16 bit, you remember when you do this, let the bit do the work. Don't push too hard, or what's going to happen is it's going to break on you, just like it did with me. Okay, so now I got to pull that out. So don't push too hard, you'll break them. Okay, and now what we did is we've punched out our holes to a 3/16. And we're going to stop at 3/16 right there because I really don't know what pin I'm going to use yet. So I've got my holes drilled. It's easier to do all this stuff in the vise and have it done in advance. So that's why I'm just trying to do everything right here as much as I can right here while I got the vise to help me, because sometimes it's nice to have a third hand. Then here's our brackets that we made, okay? It just got dark and I couldn't finish them up. So they need to be ground up, rounded on the ends. We'll paint them and then we'll mount them. And there we go. And then that'll hold that bulkhead in there really good. All right then.